You want to see Timothy Spall take a leisurely and often painful trip through England, and Last Bus might just be for you. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm going to do a quick review about The Last Bus, which came to theaters and VOD on February 18, 2022. It stars Timothy Spall as a 90-year-old war veteran who is taking this mysterious epic journey from his home in Scotland all throughout England for reasons that we don't really find out until later. And he is seemingly trying to do this on his own. He is clutching his suitcase the entire time, never wanting to let it go, but also not really wanting to accept the help of others. He kind of wants to do this all on his own, and you don't really know why until kind of the very end. So I'm gonna tell you a few things I liked about it and a few things I didn't like. I don't think there will be that many spoilers. My overall take is I think you should maybe rent it or potentially pass it. I mean, it definitely is different. It's a different kind of film, has a slow, kind of mysterious story, but kind of the main draw are the interactions between Timothy Spall and the other characters. And some of them are a little strange, some of them feel a little forced, and the journey is just kind of slow overall. It's a little confusing for why it's so difficult. But so I thought it was interesting. And it actually does make up for a lot of it. So if you stick with it to the end, it is worth it, but it's a very long journey to get there. So my recommendation is to either rent it or maybe pass on it, even though it is kind of a very different kind of movie. So the things I liked about this film, the first is the mystery. Like I said, you don't really know why Timothy Spall is on this trip until closer to the very end. I mean, you get some hints. There are some things that are dropped, but it does a pretty good job of keeping its cards close to the vest until like the very last bit of the movie. So I liked that. I liked not really knowing. I thought it was nice to have this mysterious character. Although sometimes I'm a little frustrated because you didn't really understand why he was doing this. It was nice to have that mystery. The second thing I did like is Timothy Spall. I mean, he gives a really good performance. You don't love his character, but his character is supposed to be like old and have pain and have the weight of age and life on him, and he does a good job. Like the first thing I thought when I saw him was like, oh my, like he is moving slowly, and I wasn't sure why. You find out why later, but Timothy Spall does kind of completely transform for this character. He transforms his mannerisms, he transforms his gait, he transforms his face and how he looks, and I thought that he did a really good job in this role. And the last thing I really liked is the end drama, because I did like the ending. I thought the ending did a pretty good job of tying things together, of opening up some of the mystery that happened earlier, and of giving you like a nice emotional payoff. So I did like the end drama. I liked how the movie ended. So in that respect, at least the journey was kind of worth it. So things I didn't really love that much. The first is the slow pace. Like I mentioned, it's a very slowly paced movie. There's some wrenches that are thrown in there that seem strange. The film is a lot about Timothy Spall on a bus, and so sometimes he's stopped at the bus, sometimes some conflict happens, but the film does go along at not really a crazy pace, and I guess that might be the reality of taking a bus trip around England, but it did feel like a slower movie, one that might have trouble keeping your attention. The second thing I did not love, and I'll call this Clint Eastwood syndrome. I don't really know exactly how to describe it, but basically it suffers from what I see a lot in Clint Eastwood movies, where you have these mundane things that he's saying and these mundane things he's doing, and people are like drawn to it. And in Clint Eastwood movies, I take that as like he's the writer and the director, so he's making people like really interested in him, and that's kind of the character that he's making. In this one, it was unclear. I mean, some of the stuff, there were some interesting interactions, but some of the things that he said or did, people would be like hanging on his every word. It felt like they were trying to build him up more than appropriate given like the situation, and so it then in those instances it felt unnatural. It felt like an unnatural interaction, and that leads me directly to the third thing I didn't like: the unnatural situations. Some of that was the aforementioned things where you have like people seeming very interested in him even though he didn't really do much, or he kind of was a little bit like gruff. People would be very interested in what he was saying. And other times it felt like the film was meant to kind of show like, look at all these people he's interacting with, look at all these situations he's in. But some of them just felt a little, some of those situations, some of the interactions felt kind of shoehorned into the journey, almost like they weren't like a natural progression in this journey. They were made there for like a checkbox. And it's like you'll have a very unique type of situation occur, and then another very unique type of situation occur. And I know it's a movie, but again, these unnatural interactions with some of the unnatural reactions that people had felt a little corny, felt like it was a little bit doing a little bit too much to make the film to give you kind of a connection to Timothy Spall's character and his journey. I thought the film could do that plenty on its own without needing to kind of force the issue with these interactions. So that's why I kind of they kind of took away from the movie for me. I thought it would be a better movie if it was a little bit less, I don't know, like maybe a little bit more delicate with him, and maybe a little bit more toned down. And I know that that contradicts exactly with what I said with the slow pace, but you know what? Maybe I would have been more okay with it if it didn't feel like some of these interactions were shoehorned in there. So that's The Last Bus. Like I said, it's interesting. I think you should rent it or pass on it. But if you do rent it, just stick with it to the end, because it does have a nice payoff at the end, and I think that the ending does make the journey kind of worth it. So that's The Last Bus. It's already out. It's in theaters and VOD now on February 18, 2022. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And check out my other content. I've got other reviews, unboxing videos, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.